You say you're back
Okay,
over in
okay.
the mother country, huh?
Yeah, yeah, I'm in Africa right now. I'm on the west side. I'm in Cape Verde, man. I love Africa. I've been about 15 African countries. I'll be bringing groups out here.
Man, I'm looking into that and forward to that, man. What the COVID and shit like over there right now?
It's not as bad as the USA.
Okay, I was thinking that. So I might need to move to Africa or something. This shit here blow over, man. It's crazy over here.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's almost 60 different countries here. I know people usually think of Africa as one place, but it's
Yeah,
real diverse, man. It's real, each country is different. So,
yeah, I can't imagine. Absolutely. Yes,
yeah,
sir.
yeah, it's definitely worth a visit. All right, so we recording, but I could edit it up. So like I said, man, I just want to thank you again, first and foremost, for even coming on the show. It's definitely an honor. You helping me take my craft to another level. So,
Hey,
we're
man.
gonna get right into it.
Same here, King, man, all the way to Africa, man. So this
Right,
might be
right.
my interview. I got some partners that stay in the States from Africa and all that, but I don't think I ever did an interview in Africa. So I think this is my first, if I ain't mistaken. Yes,
Oh
sir.
wow, okay. Man, that's even more, that make it even better. Peace
Hey,
and
look,
blessings, family. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Taye Speaks. We got a very special guest in the house, a legend, a pioneer, one of the most artistic and creative MCs ever. You know what I'm saying? In my opinion, definitely his music is going to live on because it has standed the test of time. But for the viewers who don't know, because we got people viewing from all over the world, let them know what your name is and definitely let them know where you're from.
man, yours truly, Mr. How You Do That there himself. Young Bleed, Farm Leather Concentration Camp, No Limit and Priority Records, man, and so on and so forth for starters, man, but long time at the craft. So salute and bless King, absolutely. I appreciate
Oh yeah, likewise. So that goes into my first question. Like you say, you've been doing this for a while. So what was the music scene like where you was coming from, like in the 80s and the 90s?
you. You gotta keep in mind, I'm 70, baby. 74 to be exact. So I tell everybody this, I'm about as old as hip hop is. While it was evolving, I was growing and evolving. But from a different spectrum of the globe, when you're talking the East Coast, New York in particular, on into California, the South was still just starting to branch. When you talk about groups like the Two Live Crew and the Ghetto Boys in the late '80s on into the '90s, so we kind of branched off of those trees as far as the southern region. You know what I mean? As well as Atlanta. Shouts out to MC Shy D, as well as he was a part of Luke Skywalker Records. But that whole dynamic for us, the South watching the East and the West do their thing, we was always getting it far as a fan perspective. But far as breaking off into the industry, yeah, it started to evolve somewhere in those mid '80s on up into the '90s. But yeah, yeah, different, same but different world. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay, okay. Thanks for breaking that down.
That's,
Because you coming from Louisiana, man, that's a very, very musically inclined place. Even prior to hip hop, 100 years before hip hop, some of the greatest and most creative musicians that this world has ever seen originated from, where you from. You know what I'm
yeah, man.
saying?
Especially when you're talking jazz and blues. You know what I mean? Between Mississippi and Louisiana, but New Orleans being definitely the birthplace of jazz, and Mississippi being the birthplace of the blues. So all those pioneers, I had that kind of thing going on in the family. Everybody was pretty much talented before me, granddaddy down, but nobody never made records. And I was the first one, I want to say, from my family tree to start making tapes and the early '90s, you know what I mean, late '80s, and demo tapes before then, like in '85, you know what I mean. But I was actually selling my own tape, early '90, '91 or something like that, you know what I mean, just in the neighborhood and surrounding areas. So yeah, so all that was that, you know what I mean. I say, a lot of us is blues and jazz babies, so it's a music mecca, but not an industry mecca. You see what I'm saying? For as reaching from Louisiana to New York or from to California or to Texas, being close enough, and modern day time Atlanta, and as well as everything else, it always been there. But now the world, has a light, more based on the South. But that was the whole reckoning, growing into that, man, trying to catch up with the other guys and do what everybody else was doing for its industry. You did.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. That's truly inspiring because, like you say, you didn't wait for the industry to get going. You know what I'm saying? You start pressing up your own tapes, and that's something that I think everybody like love about the South, man. You know what I'm saying? Not really waiting on other people to come down and get you, at least get you started. And you made a lot of, man, powerful moves that paid off. You know what I'm saying? Planting those independent seeds. So I want to kind
Independent.
of get. Yeah, yeah.
That's
So I wanted to kind of ask you, now when did the concentration camp come about? Was that later or is that kind of simultaneously when you first started making music?
somewhere in particular between 94, 94, 96 at the latest. You know, my homie had a label and we was, was down with each other middle school wise. You know, we was just kids. And later on in life, we reunited, shouts out to C-Loc, and C-Loc Record was the label. But we started to build so many people under that umbrella. And when the new when it was when hip hop was going back to New York and everybody was starting to make kind of camp base. You had the boot camp click in New York and boot camp click in New Orleans with Mystical and all those guys. Then I wanted to make a format pretty much to go with what was taking place. And we came up with the concentration camp, you know what I mean? And we started to build and call that our clickalation along with, of course, C-Loc Records. And then, like I said, the rest is history. But somewhere 94, 90, 95, and 96, I want to say even before 96, you know what I mean? So 94, 95 or something like that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow, wow. I appreciate you breaking that down. So, it seemed like within a few years you ended up connecting with No Limit and Master P. How did that come about by you being from different cities and different parts of the state?
Well, New Orleans and Baton Rouge is only like about 45 minutes apart. So a lot of networking and different factories we had to work out of and television stations, whatever, to make your videos. We come from the tape game. So when you had ADATs and all that, we might have had to go to a cable company to do this, that, and the other. So somewhere along those lines, P having his independent thing and kind of coming back home, him and C-Lo kind of ran into each other, and he learned what we was doing in the Baton Rouge section of Louisiana. And they hit it off as two CEOs with two camps, and we started to formulate and work together. And somewhere between the lines of 96, 96, we released the original How You Do That there. That was originally called The Fool on the concentration camp, the first concentration camp compilation. And I guess P kind of went with that. And of course, him and Loc had a few records prior to that. So we was already in cahoots with each other. But that kind of did it. That was the pivot. And he liked it so much that he wanted, he offered us to be on the Body soundtrack with it, the video and the shot at Priority Records, and the whole gambit. And, he again, of course, the rest is history. It kind of happened in that order. So just along the lines of networking, between the South and into the West, P having that foothold in the West, that situation with Priority Records, it was right on time, right situation, you know what I mean, for everybody. Yeah, man.